You're now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
This morning. Olivia, so nice to see you here. Thank you. My hair looks like a hot mess this morning. This is like a little bit of bedhead going on here. I didn't really do much to it. Olivia, buenos dias. How are you? Morna says it's a beautiful day here in our beautiful Cayman Islands, and I absolutely agree. I was just having a look outside and it's gorgeous. Is it just me, or is it extra gorgeous when there is like after the storm? You know, the song I can see clearly now. It's like the earth just looks a little bit better. I mean, obviously our surroundings need a little bit of cleaning up, but other than that, you know, the sky looks that much brighter. The sun looks that much more refreshing. And I, for one, am just absolutely delighted to see it. So thank you guys so much for sending all of your messages. Somebody just sent me a birthday greeting for someone who's passed away. So we got a lot to cover today. And there are a number of things that we'll get into and that we discussed, that we will be discussing. So someone just sent me a message that made me chuckle here. All right, so we got a lot going on. We've got Danica joining us this morning for our media or Caribbean connection, which is our like Caribbean media, so we can find out what's going on there. We will be sending out the link. I'm just waiting to see if these guys will be joining us this morning as well to tell us about their fundraising event for Honduras. We have, let me just see here, what else we've got going on. So lots of organizations are getting together to do fundraising for the persons, particularly in Honduras, but most of Central America has been impacted by what was at the time Hurricane Eta. And of course, you know, they are trying to get things organized. I've got people asking about, can people come and visit them and get a visitor's visa? Not quite. I think you guys remember that we are still in a phased reopening. And so what that means is you have to fall into several categories in order to qualify for entry into the country. So let me just see here. So I'm just double checking with the Honduras groups. You know, we have a lot of people here from Honduras. A lot of Caymanians have Honduran connections with family members. In fact, you guys might remember I've shared this story before. During Hurricane, I think it was Mitch, which was particularly devastating for Honduras and the rest of Central America. A lot of people, unfortunately, lost their lives as a result of that storm. I remember them doing an interview on what would have been Radio Cayman at the time. And, you know, I remember listening to these people thinking to myself, they sound just like us, like the accent. I've always thought Caymanians have an extremely unique accent. Like I can hear a Caymanian accent and know that that person is a Caymanian, no matter where in the world I am. And at the time, when I heard these persons from the Bay Islands speaking, I forget which specific island it was, but I thought to myself, wow, they sound just like persons from Cayman. So I thought that that was amazing. Mercy, I do see you there. Are we expecting anyone else to join us, Mercy? I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Hi, morning.
Hi, good morning, Sandra. How are you today?
I'm not bad. I was going to send the link, but I wasn't sure if you were the only person who was joining us or...
I'm the only one at the moment. I see
Okay.
driving in right now.
All right, no problem. Let me just see here. I'm going to just try to turn up your mic levels a little bit. So, good morning, Mercy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time out this morning to spend a little bit of time with us. Now, I was just explaining to our listeners that, you know, Cayman has such close connection with Honduras. We have family members who are, you know, connected. We have friends. There's a lot of workers who come across from Honduras, from the Bay Islands, from the mainland here to the Cayman Islands. Geographically, it's obviously pretty close to us as well. and give us an idea of, what your connections are to Honduras and why you are now really concerned about what the storm has done there.
Well, I moved here in 2000. I actually don't have family here.
Mm-hmm.
Cayman has been my family for the last 20 years. I got two
Mm-hmm.
children born and raised here. So it's kind of hard not to think about Honduras, when you live far from family. You're missing your country. And now the time, like you see these things happen and make you feel vulnerable, like you want to do something and you can't. You feel your hands tight. Well, actually, you can. It's just like, you get together with people. There's a lot of Hondurans here from the Bay Island, from way back in the day. So we got the roots, connected to Caymanian Hondurans somehow. And I know in their heart, if you ask for help, they will help us. Um, we got together like 3 days ago with Nora, Lucy, other ladies. We're just here to, willing to help our people. And we just please asking, give us a hand to help. We is so much we can do, but whatever is on our hands, we here, and we thank you too for that.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what you know of Hurricane Eta and what it has done to the people of Honduras. Like, where's the hardest hit areas, and where do people need the most help?
Right. I'm from Ceiba. We have damages on Ceiba. We got one bridge that collapsed, but that locally, there are two, so we can be able to use the other one. So it's not so bad. Ceiba's not so bad. The areas more damages would be Joro, which is another department, and then it's like a valley. So this river just went through the valley and floated like completely, like zones, like uh, let's say, here in Cayman, the whole town is the water to the roof, literally. So the people lost their home. It's nothing for them, nothing. The,
It's not only one place.
No, it's just we have Joro, we have Cortez, we got Colon. Yeah, it's a it's a Mosquitia, which is yeah. So it's a lot of it's more a little bit farther down, and where we from, but
Mhm.
there are people there who really need our helps.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Now, your organization here, tell us where you are this morning and how people can assist with, what is going on.
So we right now, the church prophecy, the God prophecy, lend us allow us, I should say, to be here in the parking lot. We have at a container, like Nicholas mentioned yesterday. The one container was going to be here by Puritan Cleaners. Another container will be in Marina Drive, I think, and then it'll be office in West Bay. They're collecting stuff. But the container Marina Drive, there is no one there to receive it. We're the only ones here receiving the goods. So if you people willing to give, I invite everybody to come over. We're right next to Uncle Bill's, and you can't miss it. It's a one white 10. We'll be here from this morning until 3 p.m. That's the time they allow us to be here, but we have a contact and a flyer we share, and they can call us and we can pick it up. There's no problem, and we can put it in a container. Also, um, we'll be here until Saturday. We'll be
Mm-hmm.
here from here today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So we unfortunately we can't be here on Sunday because I do believe there is a service on church, so we want to respect that. But
Mhm.
anyone, I know people work, so the only time available might be Saturday and Sunday. And if they can Saturday, so they can contact us on Sunday, and we can come over and pick it up.
Mhm. Okay. Now, what items, Mercy, do you think are most in need based on what you've been hearing coming out of Honduras?
All right. So we right now they don't have water. They don't have water to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Their lack of food. We'll appreciate we get dry food. Um, sheets, blankets, children clothes, diapers, baby clothes.
Baby
Mm-hmm.
powder, baby formula.
Yeah, anything like you think, when I, we went through Ivan here, and we pretty much familiar with what happened on a hurricane. So you got extra dry food in your pantry, you just please share with us. They'll be grateful. We'll be grateful also.
Okay. All right. Now, give us an idea of where you are located this morning, in
Like I
case
say,
people
we in
don't
Eastern
know.
Avenue.
Okay.
Eastern Avenue, right next to Uncle Bill's. It's a
Yes.
big blue building church
Uh-huh.
called
Okay.
uh,
Now, how are
God
you
of
guys?
Mercy.
I'm just curious about how you're getting the items to Honduras. Do you have a shipping company that you're working with? What's the manner in which it's being organized to physically get there?
Right. So we have Nicholas Acosta, who actually I got in contact with him on
Yes.
Friday night. I
Mm-hmm.
called him Friday evening. I called him, and he told me he was collecting stuff from Cayman Brac. So I asked him like, which way you're shipping it, and he said, well, we have in a container. So I said, well, but that would be great because I'm trying to get people together to put stuff, but we concerned like how we gonna get all the stuff because we don't have a shipping going directly.
Mm-hmm.
There is one car, there is one boat. It goes to Honduras, and they allow us also. He's offering to give us a container space, not a container space. So we got in contact with Nicholas. Nicholas said he has two. Somebody have donated two containers, so we were very happy to hear that because otherwise we start looking for renting one container. Meantime, we getting a cargo flight from Cayman Airways to send the goods. But God is with us, and we got Nicholas with us, and the container is actually right in the back by the Puritan cleaner. So as soon as we finish collecting today, we actually put it in, and we're gonna start, you know, uh, um, classifies children food, and so it will be organized.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there any concerns about the goods getting to the intended persons? So, I
Yes.
mean, obviously, you're from Honduras and you know the system probably better than anyone else.
Yeah.
I have heard other people say that sometimes there are concerns.
Yes, we are actually. We supposed to we're supposed to get together with Nicholas, and because when we were doing this thing before, we find out about Nicholas like having these two containers available for us.
Mm-hmm.
We were planning to get this person who actually designated to do this, be the receiver in Honduras for us. Well, Nora and Lucy know her very well. Way
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, she helps a lot to get a flight to go to Honduras right on the COVID. When we have the pandemic just started, they're
Mm-hmm.
the one who help us, so we can trust people. We got these two people we can trust there. So
Mm-hmm.
we are gonna get in contact now with Nicholas and find out exactly like how his plan was from beginning to get this stuff. But we make sure that these containers actually goes to the people who really needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And to make sure this is not going to any politician hands. We don't want no politician whatsoever in Honduras to touch these containers.
How are you going to make sure that that's the case? I'm wondering.
Yeah. So like I say, we've been in contact with this person, so we can actually get this container to go directly with these people,
Yeah.
not necessarily to any organization from the government. So we
Okay.
can do
So
that.
the government, you're not concerned with the government having any power as the goods come in to take them. Customs obviously has to clear the goods. So you don't have any concerns about the government taking it from the point of import?
Well, we do have it. We do have it. Unfortunately, we can't trust our government. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I saw the news last night. They're gonna get the government together today. The Congress was gonna get together to make the goods not going through these organizations from the government.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna move a little bit. The sun is heading on me now. So it, they're gonna get together. So it'll be the chance that we can get this container directly to the person we wanted to take it to the proper and the right place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Have you had a good response so far from the individuals? What has the response been like?
Yeah, so I have a lot of people come forward to me and they willing to donate and stuff. It's just the first stage. We got already few people. They came and ask us this is the place, and we tell them, please spread the word. I've been putting in social media, my
Mm-hmm.
friends also. So I just asking you see the page, please share it and spread the word. We'll be here, like I said, until Saturday. The contact number are there. You can call us. Any
Let me just
question?
give me the contact number again.
Mine will be 925-9717. Nicholas Acosta number will be
I don't have my
three
phone.
two. Your number? Sorry.
My phone number is 321-1322. She got it. Sandra got it.
Nora number will be.
Sandra got my contact.
Just tell her.
321-1322.
321-1332. 22. Sorry.
1322. Yes.
Right. And at the moment,
Okay.
I don't have Nicholas in my head.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it is in a flyer there. So.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. So we're going to just put this on the screen now so that persons who are interested can definitely make contact with you guys right away. Mercy and Nora, thank you guys so much for your efforts. I'm sure the people of Honduras appreciate it a lot. And I'm hoping that we can send, very useful information and items to Honduras. All of the containers hopefully will have items that the people can use. And please keep us updated on your efforts and how things are going.
Right, definitely. Thank you so much, Sandra. We appreciate also the space. We keep in touch, and thank you from our heart from now for all those people that already come forward. Those ones are thinking to do it, and those willing to do it in the end. Thank you so much. We'll
Okay.
really appreciate.
Yes, thank you, my dear.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, thanks too.
Bye.
So that's folks is Nora and Mercy. They're at their church on Eastern Avenue. So it's the one that's like right next to Uncle Bill's. They're collecting donations. If you joined us late this morning for Honduras, I do see some of you who private message me separately about how you can donate, and I will give you the contact information if you do so. So 925-9717, 321-1322. I'll leave that scrolling for the remainder of the show. On the screen, of course, Nicholas DaCosta is also, available for Nicholas DaCosta is also available for anyone who wants to, contact him, his organization, the Lions Club of Cayman Brac, they're organizing containers and a shipment to go. Also, please remember that Cayman Airways on the 19th is also, it's a passenger flight, but they are, organizing that flight to carry some cargo. It would be emergency cargo items to Honduras as well. So as Mercy said, what is most important is, water, the essentials. I'm sure they're going to need things like medicine. We are still waiting for the Cayman Islands Red Cross to send out a press release. We were hoping that we would have gotten that press release yesterday, but it has not been received as yet because I know they're extremely busy trying to actually organize the efforts, but people also want to know how they can assist. I know for a fact that the Cayman Islands Red Cross tends to only ask for cash donations, because what they then do is they will take the funds, they will take the money, and they will purchase the medical supplies. They have avenues to purchase those things in bulk where they can get a nonprofit discounted price. And a lot of times what they find is it's actually more cost effective in the countries or closer to the countries to actually purchase items. Now, I don't specifically know for Honduras, since Guatemala was also impacted, Nicaragua was impacted, and even Panama, what the closest point would be to them for getting some of these goods. But they have said in the past that it is often cheaper for them to actually purchase the goods either in the country or to purchase it as close to the country as possible. So from a logistics perspective, they often will do that just to save money, because money is very precious, obviously. And so let me just see here. So there are a number of organizations. The bottom line is there are a number of organizations that are coming forward and making themselves available to assist the people of Honduras. And I think we just have to make sure that, whatever we donate is meaningful material. And, that it will assist persons in the rightful way. So I've got people who are saying, they want to send clothes and shoes. And as Nicholas said yesterday, right now, what they don't need is clothing that will make no sense for them. We've had interviews with the Red Cross before during these natural disasters, my apologies. Sometimes people send like church clothing. They send jackets and coats and stuff that the people actually don't need. Like it's hot, it's humid there. There's certain things that they don't need, and people don't always think about it from that perspective. A lot of times they just think, put it in a container and send it, and they're grateful for anything. Well, I'm sure that the people are grateful for almost anything, but it only makes sense if it's something that's going to help them at this particular time when they're most at need and they're desperate. Toiletries, sanitary products for men, sanitary products for women, some sanitary products for men, obviously things like toilet paper. And these things were already in short supply because of COVID. So there's a whole container of, you guys remember I stocked up on some and I was sharing quite a few of those with persons. So I think I have an extra one left that I'm going to take by from the donation bin, the Clorox wipes. So things like that are useful because of course you have secondary issues after a situation like this where the storm water has been sitting there for a while. I don't know how much the water has receded, but it's quite a situation. So we do want to make sure that we are helping in the most effective way possible and not just helping to say we're helping, if that makes any sense. So good morning, Keisha. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good morning, Miss Beulah. Miss Beulah, I felt like you sent me a message yesterday that I haven't had a chance to read yet, but I did see something pop up on my screen. So if you don't hear from me by later on this afternoon, just message me again. Because sometimes it's like I see the messages and then I have a whole list of things to respond to. Good morning, Larry. How are you? Barbara is joining us from Paris. Thank you so much. Siobhan, good morning to you. Annette Francis, thank you so much for tuning in, the beautiful Annette. Hello, Miss Sue. How are you? How are you enjoying retirement, by the way, Miss Sue? We never did ask you how retirement is going. Karen is here, and of course, Miss Joy from Texas. Valda, the number should now be scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Nilas, yes, prayers for Honduras for sure. Melita, Catherine is watching. Charlene, good morning. A lot of clothes sitting at breakfast table with my grandson. Okay. So I just want to ensure that, again, be really sensible about the clothing that you're sending, because otherwise, if it's of no use, it ends up getting abandoned at the airport. There are times when it will end up literally in the dump, and that's not where we want the items to obviously go. But once it gets there, people start to see that it's not going to be useful. They'll just chuck the whole lot. And that's wasted space that could have contained medicine, water supplies, toiletries, and other things. So I don't know if anyone is here is pre-vetting the items that are going, if anyone here is sorting it, but just be very, very mindful of what it is that you are actually sending. So Atlas wants to know what's going on for the month of November. So Atlas, as you may be aware, we have a calendar, an events calendar on CMR's website. So folks, just go to the website and you can see on the right-hand side of the webpage, there's a calendar of events there. And it will tell you all of the events that are coming up for the month. So everything from, I think the next event is, actually there's something going on today. Right, so Pirates Week was postponed and those events are coming up. We have some of those on the calendar. We've got a show at the National Gallery by Mark Lawrenson, who is, he's using like recycled materials for his art show. So that's super interesting. And the date on that was changed. So I just need to double check. So there's a Soca event that's coming up as well. So yeah, so check it out. There's a calendar of events there. And if you are a nonprofit organization, you can also, I think the event runs, so the art event at the National Gallery runs from the 7th of November through the 10th of December. So it has opened already, but you can certainly go by there and see that event. But there's tons of stuff in the calendar that you can see what's coming up for the month. And if you're a nonprofit organization, please send us your events to be added to the calendar. We're happy to do that. In fact, even if you're a business organization, you can send us your events at events@caymanmallroad.com. There is a small fee for businesses to participate in the events calendar, but those go out, those notifications, once the events are posted, go out to thousands of people. And so you have a wide reach for people to know about your events. Nilas says, donate food and cash, no clothing. Let's stick to the most important items. Yes, I mean, people always feel a way about cash because, once again, just like probably the food and clothing and everything else, whose hands is it going to end up in? So it's very, very important to make sure that it's in the right hands for the right people. So Amanda, good morning. She said she tuned in late. Did you mention our announcement? You're going to have to remind me of what announcement that is. We get a lot of them, so I'm not sure which one that is. Louis, top of the morning to you. He says, top of the morning to CMR Massive. Keep up the great work, Sandra. It's a huge responsibility. Thank you so much, Louis. And I can't tell you the days that sometimes I get up and I'm just like, I want to sleep in today. Can I sleep in till 8 o'clock? Because I'm normally up very late. And I've got to tell you that this is one of my goals here shortly, is to start getting to bed earlier at night. I did mention to you guys yesterday, I'm going to start a whole new journey of a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. And in particular, we need to drop close to 50 pounds. So exercise, some dietary changes for sure. And so one of the things that is also equally important when you're trying to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight is getting enough sleep. And I know without a doubt that I do not get enough sleep. Trust me, I know this. I go to bed at 1 o'clock and I am turning and twisting all night in the process of trying to get my 4-year-old to understand that she can sleep by herself now that she's in her own room, but I still have to sleep with her in order for her to make it through the night. And every time she wakes up, which is a couple times a night, I wake up as well, and then some. So I would say, and I should put on my Fitbit because I could give you the exact details, that if I get 3 or 4 hours of like solid sleep at night, that's probably plenty. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting enough of the deep sleep that is needed to rejuvenate all aspects of your body, including your mind. So there's a number of things that I'm going to be addressing, and I want you guys to come along on this journey today, because at the end of the day, I think we all have things in our lives in terms of our health that we're seeking to improve upon. So I'm going to be vlogging the entire ordeal, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in-between. JJ, good morning to you, beautiful. Hope that you are well. Atlas says, do high carbs, no meats. You know what? Everything in moderation. And I think that there's no diet. Well, the Mediterranean diet, I think, remains like the one that is still sort of the most promoted, that scientifically makes sense. But I think we all know what we need to do. So these high carbs, no meats, all protein, nothing else, like none of those diets make sense for anyone who's trying to do something long-term. High protein diets impact the body. High carb diets impact the body in different ways. It's all about moderation. We know the whole grains, less meats, less dairy, more vegetables, more exercise. We kind of know the formula that works. So I'm not really one to necessarily want to pick one diet over the other one. But I think that those things can certainly work. Like, everyone now is on this whole craze of doing the intermittent fasting. So a lot of people have lost weight. And it makes sense, not because you're necessarily intermittently fasting. Thank you, Amanda. I'm going to get to that here in a second. So Atlas says he lost 50 pounds from becoming a pescatarian, no exercise. Well, everyone knows, I think, that meat carries a certain amount of calories and stuff that fish probably just doesn't have. It's easier to digest fish than it is to digest meat even. And no doubt that it's also healthier for your heart to cut out as much meat as you possibly can. But listen, the theory of intermittent fasting to me sounds like a lot of common sense, because if I say I'm only going to eat between the hours of 10 and 6, right, during the day, do you know how restrictive that is in terms of your caloric intake? Because if you get up in the morning and you can't even eat until 10 o'clock, which they say is a bit counterproductive, because then you tend to want to eat more throughout the day. But if you get up first thing in the morning, one of the first things you should do is have breakfast. You need to refuel. You need like a good bowl of oatmeal or something that's going to do the body good, some balanced fruit and so on, to give you energy for the day. So it's important that you're fueling up properly, especially if you're going to be working out and exercising. And listen, exercising isn't about weight loss so much as it is about the other benefits that you get from exercising. Keeping the heart healthy, because the heart is a muscle. And in order to keep it healthy, you need to actually work out the heart. So there are numerous benefits to exercising that don't really entail losing weight. Keeping the muscles as fit as possible means they're less prone to injury. They are more flexible. You're even burning calories, to be honest. So it might not be a direct contribution to weight loss per se, but you are burning calories when you exercise for half an hour. Your body maintains a mode for hours after you stop exercising where it continues to burn, fat, and it continues to burn calories. So there are tons of benefits, I think, to exercising. Again, moderation. I'm not about to go out there and run a marathon. I've never ran a marathon in my life, and I'm certainly not going to be starting now. But I do think that, there's a balance that has to be sought. So good morning to Alice. Louis says, portion control is my method for my diet, eating smaller portions depending on activity. And I think that is why the intermittent fasting works, because you're actually doing portion control, but you're just doing it within a given part of the day, right? I mean, how much food can you eat between 10 to 6 if that's what you're going to do, right? So, I totally understand the logic behind it. I think that, I don't know that is, I haven't really done a whole lot of scientific research on intermittent fasting to see how healthy it is for you. There have been some studies that show people who, generally speaking, eat less food anyway, tend to live longer because your body is not having to overwork itself to digest all of that food. So I think that realistically, if you had a couple days a week where you did a more strict approach, maybe 3 days out of the week, you stuck to really I'm going to intermittent fast on these 3 days, or I'm going to be very strict with my, not just caloric intake, but the quality of what I'm eating. So I hear some people saying that they're all about intermittent fasting because that works, but then they eat whatever they want. So if they want to have a hamburger at 10 o'clock in the morning, they're going to get up and have a hamburger. And they're still losing weight because remember, from 10 to 6, like I said, how many meals do you think you could eat from 10 to 6? Maybe 2 meals, if that. And that's probably not going to, depending, of course, on what it is that you're eating, that's probably not going to add up to a whole lot of calories, right? So, I think that has its benefits there. Now, Amanda, thank you so much. She wants to remind us that the All Nations United Pentecostal Church is also collecting donations for Honduras. And you can contact them, Pastor Clark, at 926-2087, or Amanda, and her contact number is 516-3561. So big thank you to all of the organizations and the churches that are really going out of their way to ensure, sorry, that there will be numerous people helping, sorry, the group in Honduras, the people in Honduras to get what they want. So the All Nations United Pentecostal Church is in Swamp. They are known as Swamp off of Washington Boulevard. And it's number 23A Wood Lake Drive, if you're not familiar with where it is. Amanda, if I'm correct, it's the one all the way in the back. You can see it from the bypass, but you have to go through it, I think, from the other entrance, right? Okay, so Louis also says, start your day with fiber, like a bowl of oats that helps with the uptake of nutrient from your food. So you don't need a lot. Now, Louis, I'm not a huge fan of oats. And I think most of us, the oats that we do eat is loaded with sugar and all kind of stuff, but totally get your point. I think it's Kurt supermarket that does a nice like 7 or 9 green oats that I think is relatively healthy. Sometimes you're not sure how healthy these items are if you're not cooking it yourself. And that's why they recommend cook your own meals, because then you know exactly what it is that you're putting in it. But Louis, I absolutely agree that fiber is a great way to start the morning. The times that I do get like, I can do soaked oats. So like oats or muesli that has been soaked overnight. I definitely can eat that with some fresh fruit. And you know who does a really good one is the Ritz. I mean, it's expensive. It's like, it used to be, I think, $6, and then they went up on the price. I don't even know since COVID if that little coffee shop is actually open or not, because I haven't been there. But it is tasty, and it's actually, it's just a little container like this. But I find that when I eat that, it is extremely filling. And I don't necessarily need to eat again until much later in the afternoon. So I totally agree with you. There's so many things with fiber that, helps the body. It's really good for your digestive tract, obviously, helps your stool and all these wonderful things. And, it does a lot of good for the body. So high fiber diet is one of the things that they always recommend. So Louis, I'm curious to know about how you actually, how you cook your fiber. Like, how do you cook your oats? Like, how are you preparing it? Because apparently, I was just reading an article yesterday, there are a lot of ways in which you can prepare oats that makes it counterproductive. You might as well not be eating it. And, we always think those little oat packets, the instant oats, which are easy. You can put it in the microwave and in a minute, it's like done, and you can eat that quite easily. I'm now hearing that those are not the best choices because of the fact that, unfortunately, they tend to be high in sugar. So it's kind of like, yes, you're getting some fiber, but you're actually trading the benefits of that for what you would otherwise be gaining if you did the slow cooking oats. And I suppose when you think about it from a health perspective, the slow cooked oats, although it takes longer to cook, it's still supposed to be a better option for you. So one of the things that I want to do on CMR, and listen, you guys know that Cayman Mall Road we're like a community newspaper. We bring you news. We dig into the things that you are concerned about. Of course, you guys send us your tips and information, and we certainly do our best to ensure that we perform our role as media. But at the same time, we're always looking for writers. So if you have a particular area of interest, if you are a fitness guru and you want to have a blog within the CMR platform, by all means, contact me. I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to have someone on board. We had someone who was really into, what do you call it? The Legislative Assembly. Like, there's someone who actually really enjoys reading the Legislative Assembly. And I thought, or watching it, not reading it, but watching it every single day. And I thought, well, here's someone who could make a contribution to our platform in terms of that. So here's an article, for example, fitness experts share the top workouts for people with high blood pressure. So if you are a person who have hypertension, there's specific exercises that you can do that are more beneficial than others. So these are the types of articles that I really want us to start, making available to you on our platform. And hopefully we can bring those articles to you more and more. And the one about oats, I'm going to look that up, Louis, because I am interested more about how to eat proper oatmeals. And, hopefully we can take it from there. All right, so let me just see. So Karen says that the intermittent fasting is not sustainable in the long term. Well, Karen, this is the thing. I don't think that most of these so-called diets are sustainable long term. That's why it works for a couple months. But if you're not prepared to make some serious lifestyle changes, I guess it doesn't matter much. You're going to just revert back to where you were probably, right? In the yo-yo dieting, they have actually said in some instances is worse than maybe keeping on a few extra pounds. But those of us who are carrying the extra weight, especially around the midsection, that is the most dangerous for your heart, because that fat is what they call visceral fat. And visceral fat surrounds your major organs. So the liver and the kidney and the heart and all these organs. And it does the most damage to you on the inside. And you know what? You can have visceral fat and be skinny. And a lot of people don't know this. It's they call it like skinny, what's it called? Like you're skinny and you're unfit type thing, right? So that's where doing things like exercising does become really, really important. So Louise says that every day it's life and you're living, so discipline gives the best results. Absolutely. And not all of us are all that disciplined. And Neela says that intermittent fasting should not be done every day, but maybe 3 times a week is what is recommended. So I'm very, very curious about intermittent fasting. I think I'm going to do some more research. So listen, guys, this is what I'm thinking, right? At least one day a week, maybe Fridays, because remember we had Fit Fridays with Ricardo during COVID. So maybe Fridays is a fantastic day to have a little bit of time to discuss some of these things. I can always do research and bring research to the platform and the table for, our continued Fit Friday. I do want to reach out to different people in the industry. We've got different persons who work out and who are nutritionists and that sort of thing. So I think we can really build, quite a bit of content around trying to live healthier, more fit lives, because it's not just about jumping up and reading about what our politicians are doing every single day. We are holistic individuals, and part of news, I think, is more of a 360 holistic approach as well. So we are waiting on Danica. Let me see what is going on with her, if she is awake and ready to go. So Danica is our regional correspondent. And of course, we like to bring you guys regional news also. So Jewel has got to join me one day in the show. So Jewel is someone who has lost, I think, almost 40 pounds now in a couple months, maybe like 3 months. I think she's in week 12 or 13 of her routine. And she has done a fantastic job. She showed some before and after photos, and I was just like, wow, she looks really good. And so her trainer has been a young man by the name of Marlon Goodard. And so we're going to reach out to him about, maybe coming on the show and giving us some much needed advice about how to get moving and what program he's been working with her with. So Sue shares that her husband actually tried intermittent fasting and lost 40 pounds. Not for me. I found it a bit difficult, but I keep trying, and my treadmill 5 days a week to help keep the legs moving. Yes, walking is important. Exercising is important. Swimming, walking. As we get older, we realize that a lot of non-impact exercise is the way to go. And there's so many things that we can do to actually cut out unnecessary calories. So one way that, I wish I could do 24/7 is cutting out all drinks but water and tea. I know a lady, this was years ago. She actually worked at A.L. Thompson's, and she lost a lot of weight, about 50 pounds. And one day I saw her, and I'm like, wow, you look great. What did you do? And you know what she said? She made one dietary change. She cut out all sweet drinks. So no Pepsi, no sodas, nothing. And she lost 50 pounds just from cutting out sodas. Now, obviously, she was drinking a lot of sodas. I mean, I don't know how many she was having, 1 a day, 2 a day, or whatever. But it just goes to show you how sometimes it's the little things that are actually tripping us up and we don't even recognize it. So who knew that, drinks and sodas could have such an impact on your diet and your weight gain or loss? But apparently they do. And I think, again, those are like empty calories. Like they don't really fill you up, but a can of soda is full of sugar. That's the first thing. It's dangerously loaded with sugar. And not only is it dangerously loaded with sugar, but those are empty calories. That might be 200-300 calories of soda. I don't know how many calories in a soda, but you're not getting any nutritional value out of a can of soda. And boy, that Pepsi is hard. I know some Caymanians who will say the hardest thing in the world to deal with or to resist is a cold Pepsi and a patty. Now, I'm not that invested in a cold Pepsi and a patty together. Everybody says that's like an amazing combination. But I do know that there are times when it is hard for me to give up a Pepsi. And it's more like if I'm at a social event, because I don't drink alcohol, I think I want something to drink. And my go-to drink is like a Pepsi. So I try to limit my soda intake. So if I'm at a party, I might just have one, but I make sure I don't have any more than one, because I know that, in fact, having the equivalent of one soda a day more than doubles your chances of becoming a diabetic. And who knew that? It's just a can of soda, but that can of soda, like I said, has absolutely no nutritional value at all for your body. And it has a lot of bad things in it, including a high sugary content. And listen to me, folks, juices are no better, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll have an apple juice or orange juice. And what? You need to check out, go read the label of your juices. And you know what I have found is a lot of us I know don't necessarily read labels. And, shame on us for not reading labels. But if we did take the time to read labels, we would see that, in fact, the craziest thing is that sometimes something that you think is healthy for you really isn't at all. So some of these, low sodium, low fat, whatever. And when you compare it to the regular item, I've done this before and I've been shocked to see the results. It didn't make any sense on the package, because it would say, oh, low sodium. And then when I read the package, it actually had more, or it had more fat, or there was like some other way in which they were compensating for the one thing they claimed that they were taking out. So, oh, you're not going to have any fat in this item, but it's so high in sodium that you're probably going to put yourself into, sending up your blood pressure or whatever. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this doesn't make any sense. I think, moderation really is what's going to work best for most people. So Louis confirms that instant oats is not the way to go because of the sugar. Slow cook oats just to soften it on low heat, not to cook away the goodness in it. Yes, Louis, I just need more time to try to slow cook those oats. So Louis says another tip is to use honey to sweeten it. A lot of people are into different alternative sugars, but sweet is sweet. Honey, we think, has a lot of benefits, but it also is just another source of sugar, of sucrose, of sweetener. So one day maybe we should also talk about the different types of sweeteners and which ones are nutritionally beneficial versus not, and how our body reacts to the different types of sugars. So we can certainly check that out. Thank you so much, Mr. Walton, for joining us. Good morning to you. Karen, what was that comment in relation to? I missed something. Good morning, Gina. Oh, so Karen is saying it is sustainable once you adjust. Okay. I thought you were kind of going back and forth there for a minute. Sai, beautiful Sai, good morning to you. Is it raining where you are? I see those rain clouds. Yeah, so Louis has a good bit of advice here for us in terms of even the pace at which we eat. So slow eating is recommended because your brain takes a minute or two to tell your stomach, to communicate the message to your stomach that you are actually full. And so when you're eating really, really fast, you're taking in lots of calories and you're already full and you're overstuffed, but the brain hasn't sent the message yet to the tummy to say, hey, stop, I've had enough. So one way to adjust for that is to simply eat your food a little bit slower. Some excellent advice this morning. Marshall, happy hump day. It is Wednesday and it's supposed to be Caribbean Connection Wednesday, but I don't know if Danica forgot about us. Karen says that she actually does intermittent fasting 3 to 4 times a week and it works. All this talking about food is making me hungry. You know, normally I'm good until after the show, but right now my tummy is like, I could go for. So, yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. So Miss Sue says, stop now, you're scaring me, as some people eat fried food every day and so skinny. We cook very healthy meals, cost so much money to eat good here. Yeah, so here's the thing, Sue. Eating fried foods every day, like I said, there are skinny people who are not healthy people. So just because you're skinny doesn't mean that you're healthy. And we'll do a whole discussion around this because there's factual, good, concrete, scientific facts about this. But what you're eating and the quality of what you're eating matters. So that's important. You know, yes, you can do plant-based. There are people who will only do something that is grown. Like if it comes out of the ground, that's their mantra, then they will eat it. And cows and other things don't come out of the ground. So basically that eliminates most meats for them, or all meats really. I think sometimes they might add fish in their diet, but we'll have some experts on here. You know, the beauty of this format, folks, is we can invite people from all over the world. So there are people who've made amazing transformations of losing a lot of weight and they've managed to keep it off. And we can certainly ask them what their secret has been. So Louis says to Sue to ask your husband his take on the diet thing, because I don't want you to lose weight and cause problems with him because he might love you the way you are. Let me say this, Louis. Living in the Caribbean is a bit of a double-edged sword because a lot of Caribbean men, they claim that they love a woman who is full-figured and has hips and a banquet and whatever else, right? So maybe this is going back to our caveman days. I don't really know. But a lot of us really seem to think that having a big behind, a big rear end is one of the measures of someone who is healthy. And I think there's some scientific logic to it in terms of like child rearing and stuff like that. Like if you have bigger hips or whatever, you're more attractive to a man because he thinks you are able to bore him more children or whatever. So there is some kind of scientific logic to certain shapes and why men are attracted to certain shaped women. But, you know, in recent times, people have taken this to an extreme. So in this day and age, a big rear end is amazing. It's an amazing asset that is promoted a lot. So there are women who go out there and go to great lengths they put in butt implants, which are incredibly dangerous. And sometimes they explode or, you know, they're being put in by the wrong individuals. And that causes, you know, lots of issues for them health-wise. But yeah, there's this whole group of individuals now who think that a big butt is the thing. Remember the song back in was that the 90s? I'm kind of thinking it was the 90s about I Love Big Butts. Remember by, I can't remember who sung it now, but it was like a little rap song or whatever. And maybe that's what kicked off the big butt craze. I don't know. But I tell you what, people are crazy for big butt these days. And so the point that Louis makes about sometimes Caribbean men in particular really like a woman who is a bit more full figured can be detrimental if you are trying to eat healthier and you're trying to lose weight, because your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever may be like, I don't want you to get too skinny. And then other people be like, oh, you get so fat, you put on so much weight. So it's like, you can't please other people. You have to be on this journey for yourself. And if your health is at risk, then it is what it is. You got to prioritize that. So Sai says that she exercises whenever she gets a chance. She takes her kids walking, for example. And there's so many things that we can do in terms of exercise, folks. It doesn't have to be, I've got to go to the gym. Like even when you get up in the morning, there are little things that you can do immediately to kind of get the blood pumping. Throughout the day, you're sitting at your desk, because most of us have desk jobs. And, the good portion of our day is actually sitting down somewhere. There are things that you can do when you're in a sitting position that will improve your posture and improve, your circulation. And so we'll talk about some of those things as we try to get on this journey together. So Sai says no sodas in her house. Karen, absolutely water's the best. And that's why most mornings you guys see me here, because I know I don't drink enough water throughout the day. I try to at least start my day with some water. Once in a while, I have some tea, but I really just try to hydrate from overnight. So Sue says no sodas, but they do like their glass of wine with dinner. Hey, look at Jewel. So Jewel, we want to invite you on the show one day soon to talk about your journey thus far, because I have been inspired by seeing your postings on social media. I see you working out. I see your videos and your photos. And you look amazing. So I'm so glad that you say that you feel fantastic. And so we want to invite you on to tell us a little bit about it, because I think it's great. Ooh, Sai says that she loves sweets. Mm-hmm. Yes, my dear Sai, I totally get you. As Caribbean people would say, a weakness for sweetness. Trust me. That dessert menu. I'm kind of like, I'm a weird person when it comes to dessert though, because I won't necessarily eat everything for dessert, or anything for dessert, I should say. So I'm a little bit snooty when it comes to my dessert options. And there are some places that are deadlier than others for me to go to. So like Thai Orchid, they have the best desserts on this island. And so certain places where they do like a proper dessert is really, really deadly. Trust me. Yes, Louis, discipline. It's all about discipline. So Walton is of the opinion that people eat too late at night. We're going to talk about that, whether it matters when you eat, because there's a whole bunch of scientific research around that as well. So Jules says part of her secret is eating 3 to 4 small healthy meals a day, and that she used to feel so tired and sluggish, and now she feels like she did in her 20s. What? Jewel, we are going to put you on this show so we can talk, girl. Yeah, so Sai is struggling with the timing, because she says sometimes she works late and you got to eat after work. And Louis wants to know what her perspective is, I guess, on the extra pounds. Listen, it always amazes me how you can have some of the skinniest men, and they're like, I don't want no skinny woman. I want a woman with meat. And you're like, what? So if you guys have ever seen my husband, he's pretty skinny. Since he met me, he's gained a few pounds in the midsection. Nowhere else, apparently, but he's gained a few pounds. But he's a skinny guy, so I'm sure there are people looking at us like, that's an interesting combination. Not that I'm 300 pounds, mind you. However, I am bigger than him. And so, to me, size doesn't matter for a guy. I've dated guys that were like, thicker, bigger guys. Obviously, my husband's like really skinny. He's like a size, I don't know, 32 waist or something. It doesn't really matter to me so much about that. I think there are other more important attributes, but I could definitely see for some people have a type. So they have a body type that they like. They have a certain look that they like. I think for men, that's more significant, like the body shape and the parts and whatever, than probably for women. For women, it's probably more about the facial features, like how a guy looks in the face. I don't know, ladies, are you into like a muscled up man? Like, does a man have to look like he comes from the gym every minute of the day for you to be attracted to him? Karen says last meal should be 3 hours before bedtime. Your body shuts down when sleeping, cannot process food that's then stored as fat. And you know what else, Karen? It doesn't help your digestive tract to eat so late at night, because that's when you get like tummy aches, you get acid reflux if you eat too close to bedtime. So there's good reasons why, if you're eating late at night, as Walton says, make it very, very light. Like maybe have an apple or something else that's not going to weigh down the stomach too much. So isn't this amazing conversation this morning about how we can all be healthier and live healthier lives? Karen says, I think everyone is beautiful in their own right. Love yourself, and anyone who has a problem with how you look can piss off. Yes. So that's good advice. Sue, 52 years of marriage, says she's pretty sure her husband's happy with what he's got. Amen. Congratulations, by the way. That's a lifetime together. Larry says rice and beans didn't miss her. Woo! Some people cannot do without rice in any form, much less rice and beans. And can I tell you a little secret about rice and beans? I don't cook it that often, to be honest, because it's like way too much work. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I do, you guys know, over the weekend, I think Monday night, I did some curry chicken and mac and cheese. I actually haven't cooked in a while because I've just been so busy. So I decided I would do some cooking. And everybody loves my mac and cheese. Like, I make different variations of it, but it is to die for. Like, literally, if you're not on a diet, check me for some mac and cheese. But rice and beans takes a little bit more work. I do a coconut rice that is amazing. My friend Kevin, every time I cook coconut rice, he's like, oh my God, your rice is so perfect. How do you get it so delicious? He is so funny. He loves my coconut rice. But you know, rice and beans you can easily do with brown rice, which is a much healthier alternative than doing the white rice. The only thing is, it's a little tricky trying to get the consistency right in terms of cooking it, because you have to cook the rice longer, brown rice, to get it soft. But if you can get it just right, and for me, what I find is I cook it, but then I have to put it in the oven to kind of pull out any additional moisture and get it to be like really, really fluffy. But brown rice, listen, people love it. You put the right seasoning in it, they can't even tell that it's brown rice. They're just like, oh my God, your rice and beans are so good. So that's a little tip for you. Aliana, thank you so much for reminding us that was Sir Mix-a-Lot that was talking about, I love big butts and I cannot lie. But he says that all the butts in this day and age are all fake. Well, people are spending a lot of money in getting fat transfers or taking it from one area and putting it in the butt. I've never seen a society so butt crazed. You know, Americans are into this big butt thing, from the Kardashians to everybody. It's all about trying to accentuate your behind. The smaller waist, the big full butt and hips seem to be incredibly important to people. Danica, do you have a big butt?
I think so, unfortunately.
She does. Danica is not that big. She's always complaining about how much she needs to lose weight. So Danica, I was sharing with people today that I'm actually going to be starting a healthier journey, and I'm telling them because I want them to hold me accountable. towards healthier eating, exercise, and we're going to start dedicating our Fridays to talking about, all the lifestyle things that we should be doing. Now, I know for a fact that Danica has lost a lot of weight in her lifetime. So, Danica, tell us a little bit about that journey. Now, Marshall says that he does 5 miles 3 to 4 times a day, and he's at the track now, exercising and listening to us. And based on his photo there, he actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, he looked great. So for me, weight loss is not it's not about going to the gym. It's about changing your mind about how you live, how you consume. So one of the things that I discovered is that having been raised by Jamaican parents, it's a conditioning. So as a small child, I didn't eat a lot. However, as you get older, they tell you to finish everything on your plate. So over the years, you start to eat based on training. So I was eating at times that I wasn't even hungry. I ate because I was emotionally stressed. I ate just out of sheer frustration and because it was something to do. So also conditioning. I just saw somebody put up something about vanilla ice cream. Jamaicans, believe it or not, I would say the majority of us are conditioned to eat ice cream. They put it in there from preschool. They go, I is for what? I don't even know. Ice cream. That's what you think of. So every Sunday you're conditioned to get things like rum and raisin, grape nuts, Devon House flavors. So
girl, hold on a second. I don't know why you had to mention Devon House for but that's like a Sunday tradition, right? In Jamaica, is it all the time? But listen to me. Some of the best ice cream in the world has got to be at Devon House, okay? It is off the chain good. But you know what I found at Devon House the last time I was in Jamaica, which was amazing, is they make these patties that are like different flavored. So in Cayman, we have the traditional chicken patty, beef patty. Oh my God, they have curry chicken patty. And the goat patty. I'm not a curry goat kind of person, so but the curry chicken patty, I'm trying to remember, was it curry goat that I had? I can't remember because normally I don't really eat goat, to be honest. But something they had in there might have been curry goat now that you're saying it. Do they do a curry chicken?
Yep, they have curry chicken.
Maybe it was curry chicken, because I think if I have a choice, I probably wouldn't choose curry goat. But the flakiness, Danica, of the pastry. So here's one of my things, right? I totally agree with you about the conditioning. And for me, I am a foodie. Like I should have been a chef or a restaurant owner because I love flavors. I take in when I look at presentation is everything. So Chef Remy, when we used to do group cooking classes with him, he's like, you eat with your eyes first. And I totally agree with that. And I get into the whole experience of eating, right? So I want to savor it and taste it. And it's like a whole sensual thing for me. So I found that those patties at Devon House, girl, when I put them in my mouth, the flakiness of the pastry was off the chain crazy. You see how excited I get when I'm talking about food?
I do. But remember this. I'll tell the CMR viewers to also remember, you do not live to eat. You don't to eat. You eat to live. Eating is the means by which we live. And there's some people out there in YouTube space that know about sun gazing, where they say, forget the medium of food, let's go directly to the sun. I'm not yet. I don't get it yet. I don't understand it. Not knocking it because I don't understand it. So with diet, so I started off on my journey. I was 200 pounds, going on 215, getting up, having my 4 square meals a day. I say 4 because I had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. Some yummy, delicious stuff like Sandra. I couldn't pass Devon House on a Sunday. So I'd go to Devon house after having dinner, a very carb heavy dinner, because I eat things like rice and peas and oxtail, rice and peas and curry goat, stew peas. And so if you're eating at breakfast bananas and curry chicken, at lunch you're eating rice and peas and chicken. At dinner, you're eating rice and peas and curry goat or oxtail. You're gonna be overweight because I'm not moving enough. I've worked a desk job primarily all of my life. So when you eat top heavy carbs, because your plate Jamaican household, we know it goes. You put the plate, you make sure enough rice in there, enough rice. You put enough meat on the side, and they just drop a little accent of vegetable. That's it.
You're
Vegetable.
right.
They just drop
Yes,
it on the
girl.
side. Put in little coloring in the plate there. That's what some people call it. Like back in the day when juice wasn't so popular, they say, put little coloring in the cup, Cassie. Put little coloring. The point is, we've been conditioned to eat so poorly that it takes a mental effort for you to eat properly, because we consistently are fed images. And this is why the media, although I work in the media, can be so powerful. We have things like food porn. Food is not porn. Food is sustenance. You must take your mind away from this thing where we eat with our eyes. We do not eat with our eyes. We eat with our mouth. And we eat with our mouth to gain nutrients. So there is even a way to eat. So the first time Sandra met me, I was trying to gulp down water, because I know that gets your digestive process going. You're really supposed to be drinking 30 to 40 minutes or at least an hour before you eat. So when you drink water, then an hour later, then you eat. Most people, they eat and drink together. There's a reason old people had ways. But because many of you liberals want to do things your own way, because we live in a pleasure economy, we go, well,
hold on a second. I don't like how you said the word liberal just now.
Liberals. And when I say liberal, I'm not talking about political liberalism. I'm talking about social liberalism. This thing that everything that comes from the old tradition can just be discarded easily. Like there wasn't a reason. There's a reason why Jamaican old-time people had inside clothes and outside clothes. Because if we were following those traditions, we wouldn't have ended up in coronavirus. There's a reason why when you go to places, you're supposed to wash your hands. Only in the modern world have I seen people that go to the bathroom, they dig like this. Hello, coming to touch you. There is a reason. There is a reason. And yes, we laugh at old-time people. Your granny always had a little cloth, a little alcohol in her bag. How many women have anything in their bag except makeup?
I don't carry makeup, but okay.
People used to have a little tissue in their bag, a little food something just in case, and a panty. A lot of women used to travel with a panty and a little toothbrush. Those are old time tradition. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm socially conservative in everything. But my point is, we've moved away from traditions, because if we were following traditions, we would not end up in certain types of situations, because we go, oh, well, our old time family members, they used to eat these stuff and they didn't get fat. Your old time family members ate meat once a week. Ain't nobody want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear about the fact that meat is difficult to process. I'm not suggesting that you go out and be a vegan. I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying the portions and the types of things that we're eating are not in line with our ancestors, what they were eating. Sunday used to be the big day for meat eating because it was that once a week. But usually back when people were out in the fields, when most people were farming or in some side of subsistence living, they'd go out into the field and they'd have things called, what do you call it? Bush cooking. So after you're done cleaning up the field, you would cook your little pot, which would be primarily maybe some vegetables, some starches, because remember at this time, you don't have any way of preserving meat. So it's a once I guess unless it's a salted thing, that's why you have things like salt pork, salt fish, etc. So if you are in that type of lifestyle, what's happening to you is that you're not eating a whole lot of meat. You're not eating a whole lot of rice, because based on how you're cooking, you're cooking based on your farm or what you have, and it's right after you've done harvesting. So people in Jamaica, they would used to make fun of things like pot water, but pot water is something that when after you're done boiling all of these things that you're cooking, you drink that water. And people drank it because, well, that's what they did, but it had other value. And the value that these things had was what? It had all the nutrients, because we've now learned that cooking takes away a significant portion of the nutrients. So people were not only living a more active lifestyle, they were also eating nutritious, rich food. Rice, I have done plenty of articles on rice, has absolutely, let me put it this way, it has marginal nutritional value. Marginal. But why do we eat rice? Because it's a filler. It is a filler, and it is nice. Some people, many of you who read that story this week about mackerel and transactional sex will remember that she said she eats things like oil and rice. No sensible human being will grow up on oil and rice. Your body doesn't work that way. It's a starch. Oil and rice is not food. It is a consequence of poverty. That
oil
is not
and rice.
Yes, she was talking about how poor she was.
Yes.
And how her family were eating things like oil and rice. I've never heard of oil and rice. Most people in Jamaica have never heard of oil and rice. If you've eaten oil and rice in your lifetime, message me, because I'd like to talk to you. Because that is, to me, the heights of poverty, because there's no nutritional value in things like rice, really.
Right. But that would explain why so many poor countries, even when you think of China, I mean, the staple of every single Chinese dish is your bowl of rice, because they've got millions of mouths to feed, and it is a cheap and inexpensive way to fill your belly.
It is.
But even some of the meats that we eat, Danica, if we were to really look at the meats, oxtail is the cheapest part of the ox, and that's why it's so fatty, and it's it is what it is. And again, that came down to pure economics, and we have obviously acquired a taste for it now. So even if we can afford something else, we kind of feel like, a plate of oxtail is a good thing.
I agree. And oxtail is also very expensive. You cannot buy oxtail in Jamaica, but let me give you some.
Not anymore. Well, maybe now, I don't know, but
Jamaica oxtail is
the cheapest part of the meat, really.
Oxtail is almost $10 US a pound in Jamaica. Oxtail ain't cheap
anymore. That's sad.
Well, because of demand. It's like when my mom first moved to Canada, you could go to the meat factory and they'd give you the chicken foot, or the chicken fingers, as I call them, because I don't know what they are. People love it. Now in Canada, it's expensive and it's sold and it's packaged, because they realize that Caribbean people were consuming these things. So my mom first went to Canada, because obviously, you know how it went in the 60s and 70s. Her father was a policeman. They needed Black people. He just happened to be Black and a cop. So there you go. Welcome to Canada. Home sweet home. What happens is that she used to go to the food.
There we go.
The chicken.
Someone is at the Dorsey office.
Yeah. Sorry, they would give her the chicken foot and she'd cook it, right? Because it was free. Now, chicken foot is not cheap. The things that we eat are not necessarily good for us. And when I say not necessarily good for us, let me tell you some of the facts about rice. Rice is full of sugar. Yep. It is primarily a carbohydrate. It is, and carbohydrates, for all the people out there that are going to talk to me about what does this mean. If you eat bread, you eat rice, you eat pasta, that is all sugar. Your body doesn't know the difference between that and table sugar, really, because when things like rice and noodles are converted into the body, they go in and they are sugars to the bloodstream. It's linked to high levels of diabetes. Several studies have shown that large quantities of white rice have been linked to an increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Not the one that you're born with necessarily or you come genetically predisposed to. It's the one that's acquired by lifestyle, which is type 2, what old time people used to call sugar. It ranks high on the glycemic index. So people with diabetes, if you're eating white rice, you will know that it will raise your sugar level.
Danica, I don't know what's going on with your connection. Sorry, just one second. I don't know what's going on with your connection today, but you're actually coming in very garbled.
Oh.
Yes. I'm not really sure what that is about. But I guess your internet might be struggling a little bit today. So just slow down a little bit because we are trying to hear what you're saying in between the breaking up of the connection.
Okay. All right. Let me know what you guys, well, I don't know how we'd know, but
that sounds better.
It can be. Okay. It can be toxic for you. So, arsenic is one of the world's most toxic elements. The chemical has become more popular in foods due to pollution. Arsenic is known to accumulate in white rice at a higher levels than in other crops. So it can actually be toxic for you. It is historically known as famine food. You may be surprised to know that Africa and not Asia is one of the oldest producers of rice. It originated near I won't try to say which river in Africa because I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, near a river delta. It was primarily grown to sustain the population in times of famine because of its long shelf life and was used to conquer famine. So people were not eating rice in ordinary times. They were eating rice in extraordinary times where they were having issues. It can trigger something called enterocolitis. Enterocolitis is inflammation of the small and large intestines. It's common in babies and small children. And this is why particularly formulas that had rice for some time couldn't get FDA approval. So if it's not good enough for a baby, maybe you want to consider it not good enough for you too. I mean, we haven't really changed that much. It can make you fat. And now a lot of people will tell me the Chinese eat a lot of rice and they're not fat. The Chinese who were eating a large portion of rice were also not eating white rice. They were eating rice that came directly from however it's grown. From, I don't want to say grain, but it came from the husk that it came out of. So it was traditionally brown rice. Brown rice is more filling than white rice. So I think people do not know a lot and kind of just go by what they see. But the Chinese were not eating white rice, particularly in places where they were growing it. White rice is produced through a process which strips the rice of its nutrients. So white rice is not only be toxic, it can give you, it can help you to put on pounds because, as I said before, carbohydrates do, if not eaten in the correct portion, can assist you in putting on some extra pounds. Reheating it can make you sick because there's something called a fried rice syndrome. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but fried rice syndrome happens when you leave rice out of the fridge for too long and you're about to put it into the pot to make a stir fry or whatever. What happens is that rice contains spores of bacteria that can survive. So there you go. It's and also too, let me give you a last one. You know, it can be bad for female health. A lot of women that struggle with hormonal problems tend to eat higher amounts of rice and higher amounts of chicken. Chicken and rice are probably the two most dangerous combinations. And I'll tell you why.
Really?
So
my curd chicken with my coconut rice that I just had is dangerous? Oh, yep. My gosh.
And I'm going to tell you why this is so. Rice, as I said, is devoid of nutrients. So you're just eating it to feel good. You get what I'm saying? You're just eating it
Mhm.
to fill up your belly. Chicken, on the
Mhm.
other hand, chicken, on the other hand, is produced in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And I raise chickens, so I should tell you how it goes.
You raise
One of
chicken?
I used to.
Oh,
One of the
the
things
things
that
we learn every day. Go on, child.
it's actually a more profitable profession than journalism. Way more profitable.
But I'm sure you're knee deep in a lot more stuff though.
Not really, not at the moment. Focusing
No?
almost exclusively on journalism at the moment. But yeah, chicken raising happens in 6 weeks. So you have a turnaround of 6 weeks. But what is it? Most chicken are not free range. And even if you buy free range chicken, the amount of things that they give to the chicken in terms of hormones to make it nice and fat to get to, because in the chicken game, or the chicken industry, what you're really doing is you're trying to get the chicken to a weight amount. If it's running around all the time, it's not going to be gaining a lot of weight. So you have to be giving it, not only are you giving it corn, and this is genetically modified corn, because ain't nobody got time to give no chicken no real corn. So in Jamaica, we have one company, won't call their name, that produces the formula for chickens, which is coming from the United States, which is why farming in Jamaica is almost a joke, because all of the inputs come from the United States. All you give it is sunlight and the instructions. It's like cooking rice. It's very mechanical. Once you're eating things that contain a high level of hormones, you get some of that hormone into your body. And that's why Black women in particular tend to have higher levels of fibroids, because we consume chicken as our primary protein. And with eating a lot of chicken, you're getting a lot of what the chicken eats, because people forget that food is a chain. We can go back to that nice picture in grade 5, the sun, the cow, the human. What happens? The sun gives you the light energy. The light energy goes into the plant. The cow eats the light energy from the plant. It goes into his 5 stomachs and they all twirl. You kill the cow and you eat it to get the energy. And so this is why food is not necessarily something we do for lifestyle. It's not something you go and brag to your friends or you put up your plate on Facebook or whatever. It is about energy. It is what sustains you. I think we've separated life into such small compartments that we're not aware of just how important the things that we do every day are to our bodies. So whatever the chicken consumes, you will consume it too. So if the chicken is taking hormones that make its boobs pop out, that's probably why young women are entering menarche so early, because they're eating a lot of these hormones as well. They don't just die with the chicken. There's no magic. It's not Harry Potter. It is real life. You are going to consume whatever the chicken is consuming, which is why people with gluten intolerances and those type of stuff have become so prevalent, because I think their body is just naturally sick. I don't even think it's just the gluten alone, because people have been eating bread with gluten for hundreds of thousands of years. So it just seems like we're just becoming more and more sick. And to some extent, we're going to get to a place where people start eating for nutrients alone. So maybe in the next 100 of years, you're going to have a little shaker cup with all the nutrients that you need, and you drink it once and that's it. Maybe, who knows if we'll progress to that point. But where we are right now, we're eating a lot of foods that are devoid of nutrient, and we're just eating them for taste. And that's why I think the fast food industry is so troubling, because here's people that can experiment with you. They're giving you the least amount of nutrients, but they're making sure it appeals to your taste buds, and you pay for that. And that's it. And that's how Western societies operate. They experiment on you at your own expense. So you're praying for your own study almost when you eat certain types of fast foods, even the salads. But Nobody wants to hear that. These are things that nobody really wants to hear. When we talk about the truth, and I tell you all the time, I don't know, sometimes I think the truth has gone away so far. Nobody really wants to hear the facts that food is just for nutrients. Outside of that,
Listen, you can also enjoy your food, Danica. There has to be a measure of enjoyment in life. You cannot tell me that I must sit down and be miserable with a plate of food. There are
it's not
ways to cook food
it's about
healthier, to have healthier options, and to still be like me, be a foodie, and be able to savor every little bite. I'm convinced.
So let me tell you something about pleasure. Pleasure is acquired. So you can be pleasurable with uncooked. I know people that eat raw food. They think it tastes awesome. They wonder why you guys are eating oxtail and beans. Growing up on oxtail and beans, I love oxtail and beans. But
Uh-huh.
I do get that this is social conditioning, and also a little bit of physical conditioning, because they tinker with your taste buds. So I eat from a place called Veggie Campus a lot, and they can recreate dishes with no meat using vegetables and beans. I'm not talking about no incredible burger that's using a lot of soy, because I have a lot of problems with soy. It is about creating the flavors that you want using ingredients that you already have. But you know what that takes, Sandra, that you don't have? Time. We live in a world where we're driven by convenience. So a lot of the time is lost. And food is important because that's what's going to save you from going to the doctor 500 times. And it's not now when you're young and healthy. It's when you get older and they tell you things like, oh, well, you have Alzheimer's. We have to cut off one of your foot. Yes, it was pleasurable when you were young. Oh boy, oxtail and beans, my favorite. Please put some more gravy on the rice. But the human condition is one such that if it's probably too good in the moment, you're probably going to pay for it later. So that's the wrap on health. That's the truth on health. That's not one that I know you're over there going, yeah, I like this truth. You're like, I don't want this tea. Can we get something else? Can we get something sweeter? But it is conditioning. And the minute that you start to break out of it, you can live on anything. Anything that sustains you in terms of nutritional value. So I eat stuff now like pigeon peas. I eat stews. I eat sweet potatoes. I used to think sweet potatoes couldn't pass my throat. They were so dry. Now it's my favorite thing in the world. So it is about, conditioning your mind and changing your thought and also changing your circle, because I'll tell you, every now and again I pass that pork place. Oh, mercy Jesus, that smell, you can't pass it. Not happening. So
Oh my gosh. I hear you, girl. So Morna says that she's ordered some oxtail, rice and beans, and potato salad with fried plantains for lunch today. Morna. So according to Sue, Morna can take it because she is slim. Morna says the Bible says, eat and drink and be merry. Ask blessings on it and you're good to go. There's nothing wrong with being careful. So we do have a mindset for sure. No two ways about it. Red meat is not healthy. Yes, Sharon. So listen, this was a super interesting conversation, mostly around our diets, and we have a long ways to go for sure. I'm going to be starting this journey, and I want you guys to come along with me, and we can certainly do this together. And you know what? Small baby steps can go a long way. Even losing 5 to 10% of your body weight, which is not really as much as you think, will go a long way to adding years to your life and improving the overall quality of your life as well. So we can do this, folks. Now, Danica, give us a recap on the regional news since we spoke to you last week. What's been going on? What are the hot topics?
Okay. So as you know, the region has been impacted by inclement weather. So the weather was the trending story last week, from Eta to Theta to whatever Tuz we're going to end up with. We've gone into what now has been named 2020 the most active hurricane season yet. So weather is the big topic. Jamaica was flooded, Honduras, all those Central Caribbean countries, because they're not really islands. So you have Honduras, Nicaragua. Don't test me on my geography. Not that great when it comes to Central America. But all of us here in the Caribbean have been experiencing the effects of what have been tropical storms, what have become hurricanes. One that came into the Caribbean as a tropical wave, went over to Honduras and Nicaragua and became a hurricane, and then re-entered the Caribbean and is now somewhere in Florida. While we're having sunshine right now in Jamaica, the meteorologists have said that come the end of the week, which today's Wednesday, so tomorrow's Thursday, so I guess tomorrow, we will be having inclement weather again because a tropical system which is developing. So yes, we have the 29th named storm, which gives us a record because there's never been 29 named storms before. We're moving into a period where we could even have a 30th. So we are seeing the adverse effects of what some are saying is the real impact of climate change. I can't say that for sure. I'm not a climate scientist, but that's the fact. So the region has been dominated by weather stories, particularly the Northern Caribbean. So not the Southern Caribbean, Trinidad, because they're affected by the ITCZ weather system. What that means for us here in the Caribbean is that we're seeing a lot of landslides. We're seeing a lot of just general problems with where people are living. So if you would have saw a video where in, I believe it was Honduras, there was a houses going down a hill just like this. They were just sliding down. In Jamaica, you would have seen the videos. There's water rushing. There's just things that are just going. So it's refocused our attention on climate change, and it's also refocused our attention on zoning laws, because should people be living in the places that they're currently living? Should we allow you to build anywhere? These are the types of conversations being fostered. And so the environment becomes a key issue. More regionally, there are still elections going on. Places are still calling elections, as you would have known. Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonzalez is now officially a 5-star general. He's been in the legislature since 1998, and he's still the prime minister of the country. The sentiments that I received was that, it was time for Ralph to go. But I will tell you, he's one of those Caribbean leaders that is very likely. I remember he started at the beginning of the pandemic, he started off by saying to the whole idea of curfews, is COVID Nicodemus? Does it only come out at night? And I thought, these are the little witty remarks that keep you in power. I like it, but I don't know Ralph's policies. I don't know how it affects the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but I do know that being in power for so long can be to the disservice of the people. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I mean, congratulations to him, but I do think that we have to be more careful in how long we allow people to stay in positions of power, particularly in the smaller Caribbean islands. As it relates to Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of regional, stories of regional significance. It's usually just the regular robbery, problems in the community, stuff like that. That's particularly not of interest to most people because you already have that in your own place. But one story that came out of Trinidad and Tobago that's particularly interesting is that a security guard was charged for rape. Interestingly enough, the security guard was charged for rape of a 14-year-old girl that he raped her while allegedly at his job, and he was caught on CCTV camera. And I thought, wow, that's kind of brazen. Like, of all the places that you would do such an act, would not be at your workplace, would not be involving one of the people at your workplace that you're supposed to be protecting, it would be somewhere else. So I found that pretty alarming, and it was caught on CCTV footage, which was further alarming. Another big story out of Trinidad is the fact that you have a doctor that was spewing all sorts of hate and vitriol, basically telling his assistant, Ariel, who we learn her name through the video, that don't hire Black nurses. He uses the term Negro. I don't know if it's socially acceptable in Trinidad to say that, not particularly sure. It could be, because in Jamaica, people still say coolie as a term of endearment, but in Trinidad, it's highly disrespectful. So he said, don't hire Negro nurses. And I thought, wow, is that still happening in Trinidad? And somebody reminded me that contrary to popular opinion, people do not live harmoniously together from different racial groups. Will it happen? I don't know. I'm not putting my money on it. But in Trinidad and Tobago, this doctor has now come under fire by the major medical association that's reviewing the incident, which was captured on tape. I think it's extremely unfortunate, but a lot of people in the Caribbean play off their racism as preference. And I think that's a larger conversation that we need to have.
It's discrimination. I mean, I think that's the problem with what he said is it's discriminatory. I mean, you don't pick someone for a job based on their race or their color or how they look.
You shouldn't pick somebody for a job, but that does happen.
If it does happen, it's wrong, and it's called being prejudiced. I mean,
I think in the Caribbean, it happens more often than not. It dictates who we see in commercials, why we see those in those people in commercials, who gets to certain positions in certain places. They have to, unfortunately, have a look. And people will say it's just marketing or it's just whatever. I do believe that it's prejudice, but people will tell you. And he made a point that I think some people will agree with. Again, I tell people all the time, just because I understand things doesn't mean I agree. He said that many of the people that come into my office don't want to be dealt with by Negro nurses. So it's good for business. So for example, he calls a person's name and he says like Tracy Chapman, I'm just saying that name out there. We don't know whether she's Indian or Negro, but based on the name, she sounds like she's Negro or Creole. And I don't want that. I'm not racial, he says, but it's good for business. So, and I've seen that a lot. I mean, we all know it. We all see it all the time, especially if you live in a place like Jamaica. The beauty queen looks a particular way. God bless the times that we've chosen a dark-skinned person that looks representative of the population. God bless the amount of times. God bless the amount of times. I mean, I found this interesting because when I came to Cayman, I was always looking for Caymanians. I was like, where are the Caymanians? I don't want to see white people. And I was so alarmed because I could not find, at the airport when I arrived, I saw a white lady. I was like, wow, welcome to Cayman. I'm like, at least in Jamaica, you do see people that look like the population. But I do think it's indicative of where we are as a region, that you can go to a place and probably not see what I believe to be a native of the place. I'm not suggesting, CMR viewers, that you don't have indigenous European people in Cayman. I'm just saying that when you arrive in a place, you are looking to see, the Caymanian. And that's one of the experiences that when I came to Cayman, I really grappled with. I'm like, why am I seeing Jamaicans? I want to see Caymanians. Where are the Caymanians? Where are they? We
grapple with the same issue because we have over 130 something nationalities here, trying to all mesh and get along. And for the most part, it works. But I think more and more Caymanians are beginning to feel marginalized in their own country because the numbers keep growing. And there's been a debate in recent times about the government thinking that somehow we need more bodies here for some reason, pushing the population upwards of 100,000 people. And we know that Caymanians, by and large, are not having that many children. So we are not going to contribute to the population of 100,000. It's going to be importing people in. That's how we're going to get to the 100,000.
I get the need to have more people in Cayman, but I would prefer to have more Caymanians. And I'll tell you why. I stayed at a hotel in the Cayman Islands. Won't say the place because we're not giving you any free ads. I'm joking. But one of the things, I kept going to the receptionist. I was like, when does the Caymanian staff get here? And she goes, well, I'm Caymanian. I'm like, lady, don't piss me off. You ain't no Cayman. I'm like, when did you arrive in Cayman? She's like, I got naturalized in 1992. I'm like, I'm not looking for you. Anyways, I waited until the evening. I was about to leave, and I finally caught a young lady that was cleaning rooms. And I said to her, are you Caymanian? She's like, yes. And she's like, oh, I'm like, oh my God, talk to me. Because when you go to places, reason people hop, for me as a millennial, the only reason we hop on a plane to go see other people is to see the natives of that place. Like Jamaica, for as high as the crime rate is, nobody comes to Jamaica to see a white man. Nobody does that. They come to see what they see on the billboards, which is what we advertise: rastas, weed, and beaches. Ain't nobody interested in seeing the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. When I came to Cayman, I was not interested in half the people I saw. The realest place I went was the place that you took me to get turtle, because I was like, listen, this is I gotta have the national dish of the country. And I gotta see Caymanians. I gotta take a few pictures. I was alarmed by the amount of people that went missing from Jamaica that I found in Cayman. I'm like, you guys need to get home. Where are the people of the country? No offense to you guys. I'm just being funny, but it is a real problem when you go to a place and you see way more foreigners than you see Caymanians. I was looking around, I'm like, why is the police commissioner a particular looking type of person? He sounds Irish. I was like, why? Why is that the case? Is it that you don't have any local people that could aspire to these positions? Because to me, in Jamaica, as bad as we are, there is an understanding that we're going to keep it kosher. So we're not going to give every single person that looks a particular way. We're going to sprinkle it so it looks like we have a little bit of diversity going on. It's not true. It's not even genuine, but people understand the need that when people come to a country like Jamaica, we're marketing something. So even though we have a policy where you can't have dreadlocks in certain institutions, there will be a dreadlock person there. Because it looks good. So, I mean, this is what I'm talking about with racism. And this is why certain things don't grab my attention, because I understand that racism still exists in the Caribbean. People say Black people can't be racist. We can only be color. I don't know. I don't get it. As far as I'm concerned, I've seen it happen in my own family. I've seen the way people treat me versus the way they treat my cousin. I've seen the stares that people get. I've seen a lot of things that always creeps into my mind in general. So I think that's the broader discussion that we need to be having in the Caribbean and saying, hold on, wait here. We're over here criticizing other people, but we ain't so wonderful. We still have certain perceptions, and they seek into everyday life. And we go ahead and we say, oh, well, I'm not racial. It's just my preference. As my popular YouTuber says, I don't believe you. You need more people. So I am not interested in the people that say to me, oh, I'm not racial. I just prefer it. No. People bleach physically. They ethnically cleanse by who they choose to marry, whatever. Most people don't even like their spouse. I found out the other day that a particular person in my family only dated my uncle because he was brown. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, because him brown, I'm brown, man. That's the type of things. But people aren't going to tell you that. And
Right.
this is what it goes back to. It's these covert little underlying things. I've had guys tell me, well, I have to see what you look like without your weave. And oh, I never know you had long hair. Oh, yeah, man, those are things that people tell you. They're dating me because they like my big nose and big lips. No, they might date me because, oh, she have good
Well, they might like the big lips, Danica. They might like the big lips. So apparently a big bonky and big lips are real assets in this dating game. Or are you going to show us? Turn it around, girl. Back it up. Back it up. Let's see.
Let's see. Is this what they call big?
Not really. It don't look that big. Wow.
No.
Yes. Well, move forward a little bit. Let's see. Probably. Yes. Probably so. Yeah. No twerking allowed in CMR. No twerking allowed.
I can't twerk.
So funny enough, I was just while you were talking, I was kind of multitasking and I was looking through some photos on Facebook, and of course, photos of my little girl is what pops up for the past 4 years, right? So I had a little smile on my face because look at this picture of her at Devon House. Look at this.
Oh my God, Sandra, you're so
an ice cream, and we didn't buy her any, but we were trying to share with her, and she grabbed one from each person, so she had an ice cream in each hand. Because that is how addictive Devon House ice cream is. Now look at this. By contrast, when we try to give her peas, look at the look on the face. It's like, ew, this is so nasty. Why are you trying to torture me?
Yeah, kids are lovely, but
Oh my gosh. And then this is Marlon with Gianna and Shelly, what's her name? Shelly Fraser Price?
Nice, yes.
So he always jokes that she could have been his wife. Because at one point, I think that they kind of exchanged numbers, but then he threw it away or something like that. But hey, could have been. And there he is getting a photo op with her the last time that we were in Jamaica. So funny.
Marlon is not easy about Shelly and Fraser. I had a boss that tried to date Gabrielle Union, so I get it. They all think, they're gonna get with the high profile girls, but Shelly's a nice girl.
Yeah. So it's so funny because Marlon just isn't into high profile at all. So when he says stuff like that, I laugh because he's so anyway, thank you so much. Aliana says that you got a bump up on you.
Oh Lord.
Valden, thank you so much for tuning in. Sue is having a good laugh. Walton, have a wonderful day. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a rather relatively lighthearted conversation today. And sometimes it's nice to do that. We don't always have to be super serious every single conversation, but there was still a lot of meat and potatoes on the healthy side in that conversation, and we will continue. I am now really, really committed to getting my butt back in gear on a healthier track. So let's not go there, girl. So yeah, I know. I
wanted to say it too, but hey.
He didn't realize it till it was too late. What can I say? So yes, we are going to get on this healthy track. Like I said, there's always stuff that we can do. There's a really awesome plant-based restaurant in town that I had nachos at the other day. Now, I don't know how healthy they are just because they're plant-based, but they were the best nachos that I've ever had. And I was like, these are really good. So I think there are little changes that we can do, even one meal a day being more of a vegetarian style meal, and then maybe smaller portions of like meat or whatever. No oxtail today, Mark. With the
one
exception,
thing, Sandra, the one thing that's going to help you on your weight loss journey. Every 2 hours, drink a long glass of water. Water, water, water. It
ugh,
will help you. It will slow down your digestion. It will help you clear
mhm,
away some of those things that you have in your body that make you want to eat all the time, because what you want to eat for is the dopamine in your brain. You want it to
yeah,
fire off. I know you. You love the excitement, like you like the ray like me. One of the things that gets us there is sugar. Raw sugar, nothing fires off in here like the sugar. So you want to be drinking a lot of water. People say it and it sounds so cliche. It isn't. The more water you drink, the less food your stomach will have space for. So if you start drinking 1 hour before you eat, that plate becomes, well, maybe I'm gonna put a little bit in the fridge for later. So it will help you. It will make your struggle easier. I'm drinking a whole ton before I get up in the morning.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Danica, we need to come up with a new name for you. Something by Danica. We'll think of something. Anyway, Danica, thank you so much. It's been another segment of Caribbean Connection Wednesdays, folks. Tune in here every single Wednesday. Danica's here. We're trying to still get a hold of Jacqueline Carpenter from the Miami Herald, because sometimes she might be able to pop into the conversation. Mark says room temperature water. It went even further downhill for me when he said that, because I can't drink room temperature water. Water has always got to be cold for me to drink it. I can't digest room temperature water. Anyway, we'll get there. Slow baby steps. So let's start with drinking more water first, and then we can try to see about adjusting the temperature. But I love a cold water. I have a water cooler at home, and my water is always cold. Sometimes I even put ice in it. That's how much I like cold water. Danica is rolling her eyes, folks. Okay. Have a wonderful and blessed day, folks. Really appreciate you tuning in. Tomorrow is Thursday, so we'll do a little bit of Tech Thursday. Bye, Danica. Folks, enjoy the rest of your day. Marshall, you're looking good. Keep doing what you're doing. Mark says 1 ounce of water per pound. Well, I need to go figure out the math on that. Neelis, what? Cold water helps you to gain weight. What the hell? Oh, looks like we got a lot of work to do, child. We got a lot of work to do around here. Oh my, not good news. Anyway, folks, we'll eventually get it done. I'm off to court this morning. I need to do some court research to bring you guys some court news and some updates. I'm not back until the 26th. In case you guys missed it, the DPP's office on Friday, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not. On Friday, what is this person talking about? On Friday, the DPP's office decided to drop one of the cases that they had against me, which means that I am that much closer to being able to enjoy my Christmas with nothing over my head. So the 26th is when we're back to hopefully wrap up the Matthew Leslie case. After that session, we will certainly make a decision on whether or not an appeal will be forthcoming. And then we'll take it from there. One day at a time, good people. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you, Larry. He says he sips in water all day long and he is thin. But are you thin and healthy, Larry? That's the question. Thank you, Mark, for the advice. Morna, enjoy your oxtail lunch today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Be safe until then.